Why, when the Roman Empire collapsed, did they change God from Caesar, a man who was just God and will kill you if you think not, and to invisible people? Shortly after their empire faltered for the fourth time or so in human history, they had created religion, two religions, three, four, five came from it. Technically five, but there's four Bible religions. There's Satanists, there's Muslims, there's Christians, and there's the overprivileged people we can't mention because they owned everything and created all this stuff. And definitely, they probably came from somewhere else other than Italy before, but last we knew, the last evil empire were the Roman Italians. So, anyways, so after the empire collapsed, something happened where they started writing books, and they changed the name from Caesar is God to my invisible friend is God, and he said to give Caesar everything you own. So, why would we do that? Well, it makes perfect sense if you understand. We're dealing with 200 religions on the planet. Technically, there's 8 popular ones, and they're all the same race. And now we come from a basic understanding of the very first day we were born that we know that religion is racial organizations and cultural organizations. And then there's one specifically designed for all the other people, for the slaves, basically. And so, why would they change from Caesar is God to my invisible friend is God, and he says, I work for him, so give me everything you own, or else you're going to die and be tortured by my twin brother, who is, I'm going to tell you is my enemy, but is just my twin brother, and he's helped me out. His name's Satan, or Anton LaVey is actually the writer's name. Levy, Anton Levy. If you ever heard the name Levy, let your friends know about levies, because they even make, I suppose the reason they make jeans is because their people want to be so close to little boys' butts. I noticed when I was a kid, they was obsessed with putting Levi's on little boys. Like, I found that weird because I was like, it's tacky and stupid and ignorant. It's only really good for slave clothing, but it looks real tacky. I can at least buy some Dickies. I don't even want to think long enough about the Carhartt to figure it out, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. So they're busy putting Levi's on little boys' ass. That's a little off topic, but hey, we see patterns and we can't help but identify them, right? We need to put our Dickies on some people fucking too, right? So, anyways, why do you think they would change from Jeffrey Epstein's twin, Caesar, was, you might be able to see if, when you look at Roman statues, one thing you do is you see a gray person, which is actually very telling, but you kind of see yellow people when you do that, so you kind of don't get the idea of what they would really look like. But what they end up looking like is, this rendition of Caesar is small, tiny, beady, black eyes. You ever notice that they have black eyes generally? Like, it's the white crackers with the black eyes who are like, and like, I don't get black. I'd love black contacts, but it looks like fucking, like total, like I'm just gonna kill fucking you and rape your family and shit. Like if when I see people with black eyes, fucking, it's just totally demonic. And I think the game is like purposefully inventing pedophiles to look like pedophiles, because if you ever notice, pedophiles always look like pedophiles. Like, it's not hard to tell. Like, and it could be because one group of people is doing all the child rape, like Caesar and his enemies. You notice that too. Like, they're always the enemies of each other when they shed their religion. Like, our friends, they use the pyramid They're the New World Order. And then they have the Christians be like, that's not us. And then, yet the Christians worship Amon. They say Amon at the end of every fucking sentence. And then they also, when they kill people and build their churches out of the bones or on top of the bones, in corpses, what they do is, in Mexico, they put their pyramid, like, into the wall of the church built with and upon corpses. So, yeah, the most logical thing here is when people are talking about invisible people like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, first of all, if you're a living being, you know right away. You might be 6 when you first heard this, and your first thoughts were, why is this person trying to manipulate me and lie to me and deceive me? And if you ask them, they'll be like, oh, well, we're just having fun with you. They're having fun. They lie. But in reality, when you get older, they'll tell you it's because they were threatening you to obey them and worship them as gods and everything else. Obey and worship ignorance and be a slave. And this is if you had the misfortune of being raised by the colonizers yourself. I might assume that not all humans were raised by colonizers. So you haven't got to experience, they're not going to let you in. They've developed a cult for you, but if they haven't raped their way into your family yet, you probably haven't been brought into the cult for these slaves and the rape toys, the sex toys. Little boys are sex toys. And so why would rapist pedophile Caesar, our Italian friend who the world clearly loved so much, the world clearly loved them so much that when their people write their books and movies, they have to portray them as evil people because the world loved them so much that even they can't, portray themselves as good. But then again, let's look at the history. Everyone's evil, but they were the Egyptian enslavers, and they're evil. And they're not them. And then they were the Romans, clearly. I mean, they're not them. They're not them. And then they were the Middle Easterners, but then when they went to Europe, they're not them. And then when they went to America, they were the Europeans, and you're probably going to see that they're not them, and they're the Native Americans now. So pretty much we have the humans have a simple code. Like, once you've seen them do one or two things, you know their next move, everything they're going to do probably for the rest of their life. If they watch TV 4 hours a day, that's what they're going to do. If they make up invisible people stories, they're going to make up a lot of stories to tell you. And they're going to keep up with invisible stories. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone change outside of 2020, which was like a short reformation of the human race, where somehow we had turned off their brains. And I was also summoning human clones that year, so somehow, like, we were like creating humans, and then after that year, and then after that year, and possibly long before that. I don't accept that, because often they're being brought by another group, who oddly looks like these people who's saying that God chose them to be pedophile, rapists, genocidal motherfuckers, and their God has alien devil powers, and they're the ones teleporting across the map and shit like that. So you got to figure alien race enslaving the planet. But the most logical thing here is they learned, right? They, just like we've watched them recently invent Satanism and atheism. Our Lord and Savior Einstein is no longer known as Lord and Savior. He's known as a genius. He's not Lord Caesar. He's genius. Hey, and his little Teddy Ruxpin friend. Who are all those space nerds? You love, they're so smart. Spock, he's a genius. He's a genius doing all his New World Order gang signs. You know, Star Trek nerds are geniuses wearing all their pyramids on them. And, you know, they're like Amon Ra without the bird mask on. So, you know, they're gods. Like, right? Because if what they've done is they just apparently evolved. A long time ago, they put on a bird mask and they're like, they say the history is people are like, oh my god, it's a bird, it's a bird, it's a plane, what's that? It's I'm mentally retarded. That's what it really is, bro. It's not Superman, it's Stuperman. Yes, it is. But in reality, like, you know, no one would ever speak to a human if you met a human who went around talking about, oh, this person wearing a bird mask is a half bird. You know, like you wouldn't have sex with them, you wouldn't touch them, you wouldn't go around them, you'd kick them out of your family. If they're their child, that you got a mistake, you brought into this world. And it's, if you're not lazy, it's up to you to fix it. And if you are lazy, well, that's breederism for you. So, too stupid to read a book, see where that shit comes from, unless they're breeding fucking soldiers to fight for these people and steal gold and land and resources for them. And then it's like, even then it's still kind of stupid. It's like, you should like, I'm not going to tell them what to do, but it's real stupid. It's just like, I found a person and I fucked it and I had kids and I married it and I gave it diamonds and gold and now we have kids. And they're half a person who does something and half a person who wants diamonds and gold and is going to conquer the world from here. That's the plan. Of course, they don't say that in the open. They only say that on X, which is kind of in the open these days, right? Like, I've been hearing about this for a long time behind the scenes and shit, and especially like when Trump rose to power, like behind the scenes, like it was all X. Like I showed you that documentary like 10 years ago about this is where Trump came from, this is where Trump came from, this is what those people are doing, this is what these people are saying and shit. I showed you that, and then they would erase the history. They would act like, oh, these are bad people, and they're literally running the world. Like, it's Donald Trump's website, it's his people's website, and running this Nazi propaganda, and now it's X. Now X is like freaking 50% of that, except for they got another 50% where it's evolved to where they allow the people that Nazis hate to be 50% of the people on there, not just the owner of it in the open. Now, when this stuff started, they had a bald-headed person who shaved his head, so he was a real neo-Nazi, right? Because he shaved his head. Like, I mean, you got to shave your head and hide that you don't have blonde hair, I guess, if you're an actual Nazi. Now, if you're a person about to get killed by a Nazi, you probably don't have to shave your head and stuff, because you probably don't look like Nazis. And you probably don't look like Hitler or Goebbels, do you? If you're a person about to get killed by a Nazi, right? But you ever notice like the Nazis killed people who were led by people who didn't look like Nazis, and then killed the results were to kill and steal the land of the people who didn't look like Nazis. Kind of like what's going on in Ukraine right now and stuff, isn't it? Like, you have the Nazis again, and then you have everyone who's not the Nazis, who look exactly like the Nazi leader Zelensky. They look like they're triplets, you know. Putin and Donald Trump are special in the fact that they have a little bit lighter hair and they have the bug-eyed Rothschild look, whereas the traditional Caesar-ish Abrahamic look is like a ratty black eye look. So when these are people are probably like 90% genetic wise and disposable to the core base. I suppose 10% is disposable. You wouldn't want to put your own face on the cover of a nation or a religion, right? Because what they've learned throughout the histories is the same reason why they would invent more religions. Now, what did Rome do? Rome kept inventing new religions over and over. Every person they killed, they invented a new religion for that people, because the other people had their own cultures and identity and invisible friends they created. Sometimes, you know what, I've never met another person or seen another person who invented invisible friends. This might be a genetic pattern, and other people on the planet don't have genetics that tell them to manipulate and lie and create invisible friends and rape children. Like, some people want to rape little girls. Like when the third Bible story is the third version of the Bible. No, that's the fourth. My bad. The fourth version of the Bible, they mutilate and rape little girls. Supposedly, I haven't been there, and I probably shouldn't trust anything they say about other people. But supposedly, over in the Middle East, they only rape little girls. They're not homosexuals like the original Bible writers were, and the Christians are, and the Satanists are, and the atheists are. See, that's weird. Like, we only have one group here, but the thing is like, how many? Okay, so we have like friggin' 10 million Bibles at this point. But we have 5-6 core Bible groups: Satanists, Muslims, Christians, Catholics, on our lords and saviors who are so precious. We just can't say their name because they will kill us. They'll send an alien, or however they enslave the planet and shape-shift and teleport across the fucking planet to cause their fucking problems and shit, and stalk and try to kill us who talk about them. However they do that, you know. Like, we can't say their name. But one might be like, oh, well, it's not that complex, Sean. They're just banning your comment when you mention that, hey, look, there's one bloodline who controls the planet. They're just banning my comments. Well, that's not it, obviously. We have 2020 where the world's proven it's like pretty fake and non-existent for any of that to happen. So, you've never been in reality land. Let's put it that way. The fact 2020 existed is pure evidence that it's a fabricated world and probably a fabricated narrative. It's pretty easy to, if it's set up for 2020 to be the year you get vision. That means whatever year they created the term 2020 vision, or first wrote it down, because they probably wrote it down and then backdated it like they do. I mean, when I'm like questioning shapeshifter or new people, and then shapeshifters or humans appear like that, it's like, obviously they have backdated memories to the good old days they didn't exist in and shit. Fucking. So this is obviously a repeated pattern with their people. They've been doing this forever. The Romans invented a new religion like every week, because they just killed people and they mixed it together. That way, when you kill someone's father and rape their mother, the women are going to do whatever they're told no matter what. They're probably going to getting beaten and raped. I have these people asking me for this stuff, so yeah, it's understandable. I've watched sex before, and sex literally looks like someone's enjoying getting pounded, and it's like, you can't, like, I'm not gonna be like, you shouldn't like that, right? Like, because there wouldn't be any sex, but and there wouldn't be any fucking bait to trap people on Earth either, which I guess is a negative thing at the end of the day, right? Which our Lord and Caesar and Scooby-Doo fucking pals fucking enjoy. So it probably is still a bad thing, right? Sex is one of those things that distracts you from reality and the need to get the fuck away from whatever's actually happening here and get back to the real reality on a different planet far, far away. Probably where planets don't even exist, and people aren't inventing delusions about space heaven. Caesar is not gonna take you to space heaven, because space heaven fucking and Mars and Jupiter don't exist in those other in base reality. Fucking they could be cloning what happens, like whatever's happening here that's not very good at being original. We only have 20 million vampire stories and 20 million zombie stories and shit. We've only got like 10 fucking Swamp Thing stories, but that's really the 9th character they've created. So it like ended at like the 7th or 8th character, the ability for them to expand bad guy characters, good guy characters, horror stories. Could be good or bad, right? But the most likely thing here is they invented all that shit because they were continuing to build their fucking Roman Empire, right? Which is more than the Rome. Obviously, these people have a history of reinventing themselves, and when they go kill the people in the city beside them, they invent a new invisible person. And then that turns into, if you actually like read what they tell you, that you'd spend your whole life reading what they tell you, and your brain would probably be full of shit and popping in prison and frying, and probably not much be going on there. You'd be like, you'd tell me how many arms Cthulhu had, but I don't think I care, and I don't think Cthulhu's real either. So I don't think you're ever going to be able to prove how many arms Cthulhu has either. And that's a line I've always drawn since a kid. I'm not sure how that works, but everyone forced into my life didn't talk about Cthulhu or how many arms he had or anything else, because the first second they did, I would have been gone. Like, it wouldn't last day. Not the first second, but it wouldn't last day. Scary human race, fucking, you gotta slowly work your way away from them once they're forced into your life and shit. I've spent years trying to get away from people forced into my life, and like pretty much almost everyone. Not everyone, but yeah. I mean, fuck, dude. That's basically like I'm literally running to Mexico and they're following me to Mexico and shit. So I've been doing that like on a street level long before I fucking traveled thousands of miles to try to achieve the same safe space from pedophiles, rapists, and other predators with worse traits than pedophiles and rapists. Pedophilia doesn't even bother me. Except for the fact I was a child once, and the beautiful, good people of the planet performed their pedophile rituals for fucking decades. At least a decade. I think by the time I was adult size, they were like getting worried about that shit. Although we still had trying to try the humans when they tried to kill me last year and wrote it on the internet they were going to try fucking a month in advance, and I showed you that video a month in advance saying they're up to something. Fucking shit, I was saying for like a year that it's clear they're up to something, because like I look out the window and there's like the same group would appear, and that's like the game notifying me something's about to happen, right? Like when like a couple days before they actually did try to kill me, 3 weeks after I posted the video showing the evidence that they were going to do that. I didn't know exactly what, but that's apparently like all they can do is be killers and murderers. Fucking terrorism and pedophilia is for kids, right? I'm an old man. I don't think these humans find people over the age of 12, old people like that, very attractive. Never seen two adults act like they like each other, and so They probably don't. I don't blame them. A lot of them look like Caesar by the time they're 18 or 20, and it's like, oh, I mean, to me, you already look like a man. Maybe some people find that attractive, but it's like, well, if you were born looking like a man, that's pretty disgusting looking to me. So, yeah, you're just gonna have to live with it. Get a job, find a prostitute who will hopefully not manipulate you and steal money from you too much while she's hanging out with her lesbian girlfriend or watching fake actors in makeup on TV, whatever it is they generally do, which if they do things other than that, I'm not aware of it. Pretty sure that's all I've ever seen. So, pretty sure that's, well, I've seen a lot. So, I've only traveled thousands of miles daily and stuff sometimes. Well, you can't travel that fast without a plane, but close enough. It takes a couple days to travel 1,000 miles without a plane. Does it? I think I traveled a couple thousand miles in a couple days. Oh well. I don't know the exact measurements, but 2 days is like 2 times the length of 1 day, so it's factually incorrect to state that. So yeah, that seems to be what happened. Is our Lord Caesar, his Italian friends, invented some new shit, and you'll notice that like I was fed some Bible stories today, and supposedly the Italians were good people, Jeffrey Epstein's people, his lookalikes, are good people. And they're always the good people, though, right? Like, they're the good people who were enslaved by the Egyptians, but they have the pyramid on. It's on the freaking dollar. Why would you do that? Why would you put a pyramid on your freaking dollar? You see that? That's a pyramid. That's in Egypt. You know where Egypt is? It's far, far away from this nation. No. And it also says New World Order. And I found that inside some churches as well. Yeah. And so this nation, and then we got Star of David over here, obviously. But the pyramid doesn't tell us where the Star of David comes from. Well, I mean, the Star of David doesn't tell us anything about the pyramid, except for, unless it's right beside it. And then it tells us that someone's lying to us about who they are. Because you wouldn't praise the pyramid if you were supposedly slaves of the pyramid. Now, if you're a lying motherfucker, if you're a group of Italian Caesar people who go around making up a bunch of lies about whatever, they could be who knows, someday they could be psycho and retarded enough to think that other people are so low IQ mentally that they could fucking convince them that there's flying reindeer and giant bunnies hopping around. Oh shit, bro. It's just like, how far can we go with this stuff? But apparently, they also have recently decided to can those ideas fully. At first it was Caesar was Lord. For a long time Amon-Ra was Lord, and he was a half bird. And I'm not sure who made the change and why, but the change was made. So we go from our dude with a bird mask on, who's half bird is God, to our invisible friend said, give us all your money. Or our other invisible friend, our invisible enemy, is going to send people who look like us to kill and torture you. And then we invented this guy, Caesar, from Italy, which they worked really hard on separating those two people, as if Rome isn't the capital of Italy. So then, I mean, shit, you literally, like everyone I know is Italian. I didn't even know that my whole life. I'm just like, wow, those Romans are scumbags. Good thing we fucking eliminated their fucking empire, huh? I didn't even know that. I didn't even know my best friend was fucking related to the Pope. Like, imagine the fucking sheer shock they must have been going through on the inside when I'm like sitting there, like, and I'm like, man, fuck colonizers and genociders. Fucking kill them all and shit. Fucking, who could have guessed? I mean, I should have paid attention to the signs because everyone's always pro-war and shit. And maybe that's why I didn't talk. I mean, I really did feel like threatened by most of the people forcing my life. I think most of them were like actually threatening me when, or at least one. At least one seemed to be. And then there was a whole bunch of stuff happening around that time where their people had legally used the pigs to kick in my door and take my money. And it makes me think, like, hey, is my brand new friend who's going to be my best friend for 5 years fucking, is that person actually involved in it? Because that's weird, because they seem to be involved in all this stuff going on the planet, and they own everything. Are you going to tell me they're not involved in the stuff they own? Are you? I mean, how many does this even get out to who aren't them? Like, what a waste of my life. I've spent my entire life talking to them, and I don't want to. They're like rapists and fucking forcing their way into my life and shit like that. Fucking. I mean, from my birth, like, I guess they raped my father or some shit. Is that the story? Is that the reason why I have my family fucking tried to get me to, or did have me involved in pedophile rituals, fucking shit like that? And did try to force me into their LGBT lifestyle at the church openly, trying to force me around that stuff. Did you guys know that? Like, are all churches like that? Are they all safe harbors for men who like men in the open? Or it just happens to be the one I went to was involved in that? I don't think it happens to be, because that's who they are. They like three things: genocide, telling people to worship them as gods, and destroying their lives. I guess that's part of genocide, right? And then the third is they like sex with little boys, except for whether the Middle Easterners created the whole Bible thing, and they killed off the Italians and became the Italians before the Romans. Whether that they were the people who created it or not, I can't say, because everyone's lying, so we can't get any truth. But Santa Claus, bro, there's no point in talking to these beasts. Fucking, they aren't going to say anything of value ever. Anything. They would have to spend centuries proving that they're done with lies in order to want to be talked to or spoken to or listened to. So it's the way it is. But they feel they have that right because they're a rapist species. Some of their core code DNA is they feel that they have the right to talk to you. They have the right to take your life. They have the right to drug you. They have the right to have sex with you. They have the right to be your best, to force you to be their best friend. They have the right to force you to be their slave. They have the right to mutilate you, and they have the right to have sex with your children, and they have the right to rule over you, and then they have the right to tell you everything to do. They have the right to drug you, and then they have the right to feed you a cheeseburger after they've stolen everything from you and tell you that don't say I've never done anything for you. Fucking, when you don't even like food, if you're a living being, you might have realized that you don't need food to live. It's part of their little drug scheme. Another offshoot of their pyramid scam system. Like, literally, like, tell people they must eat, and that way we can force them to work all the time and stuff. And who knows? They might be creating half that too, because they know they have to create the illusion that their bots actually exist and do things. And if their bots were just sitting around doing nothing all the time, it'd be a lot easier to study them and understand either this shell is retarded and needs thrown in a special classroom for the rest of its life, or so it doesn't get in the way of the society like they do with, I think, actors. I'm pretty sure they're actors. That's what I dealt with earlier today, isn't it? Like, there are people causing problems. Oh no, Satan's possessing. Oh no, Cabo-Cat Cthulhu's possessing them. Oh my God, Caesar told me. Caesar told me. Oh Lord, Caesar said it, so it's true. Oh my God. I can't believe it's so true. It's so true. Santa Claus is possessing them. Santa Claus is possessing me right now. He's making me hit myself. Oh my God. Save me from Santa, guys. Oh, the Easter Bunny. Oh, they're teaming up on me, bro. Santa and the Easter Bunny. Oh my God. I'm Santa and Easter Bunny possessed. I'm Santa and Easter Bunny possessed. Get the fuck out of here. We don't play along with fucking little homos, pedophiles, fucking colonizer, rapists, ignorant shit. We don't play around with ignorant people unless we're literally playing with them, like in the mental retard classroom. We're playing. We're throwing the chairs across the room. We're running around screaming and shit. You know, the teacher's like, just like, oh my God. And we're running around like, you're under arrest, teacher. You know, that's fun. That's fun playing right there. But when we're acting like we're not mentally retarded, terrorists, we're mentally retarded and we're like terrorists at the same time. Like, I was like not playing around no more. You know, like, imagine if they was trying to suck some baby dick or drug me when I went into the mental retarded room. Like, if the teacher didn't stop it, she would obviously be involved in it, right? And who gave them the drugs in the first place? Yeah, so this is how you analyze humans and their societies. It's real fucking easy. And like, their patterns here, like, they can't stop making up Scooby-Doo stories and shit. Fucking, I got, ever since Caesar died, what have the Italians came up with? They came up with Catholicism and Christianity, like, at the same time. I guess what they did is they looked at the races around them, and they figured when we go to the north, when we continue our colonization to the north, then when we spread to the west area, these people over here will be better convinced and be better if, you know, we turn it into homosexuality and we worship the man, because they're not quite, we need to like figure out how to get them to bow down and bend over for us. So we gotta convince them, we gotta, like, you know, get them to perform homosexual cults for Invisible Scooby-Doo, and homosexual pedo acts for Invisible Scooby-Doo, because we're not going to get laid if we can't get sex with a child, because none of these adults like us and shit, like, pointing question, you know, like, this dude ain't getting laid unless he gets a toddler in his fucking hands and shit. He even going around telling people he's God. Caesar is not getting laid and shit. He's gonna have to have people kill people and kidnap them and shit. And even then, they're gonna be just like shaken and scared and terrified fucking while it's happening. Fucking, and not because they just killed him, just because he fucking looks like a space retard mutant and shit. Like, dude, doesn't even look human. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not attracted to non-humans, and I think they're non-humans who are attracted to humans, so and dogs, and so they just don't. So they'll have sex with any species and shit. They even bring that up in their little Star Trek dreams, their pyramid dreams of going to heaven. Going to heaven with all the pedophiles so they can find alien babies to rape. Imagine if they were allowed to fucking have adult programming back then, and they didn't have to slowly bring that in and shit to bring their greatness from the other nations, which was weird because they were already in this nation, weren't they? Who else has a pattern of genociding people? And they were supposedly talking about the pyramid way earlier on. And then Abe Lincoln's obviously a mutated retard who looks like them. You're just told he's so great. You know, you're like, oh, Uncle Steve's pretty ugly, but he's a great, someone told me he's a great person, so he's weird. Looking at it, isn't that weird? Like, they make it, I don't know if anyone else is living, but they make it so the shit that they're involved in is, like, weird to look at. Like, when I looked at that pyramid when I was born, you know, kind of like how I was born, knowing how to read and write. It's kind of weird, right? Or I knew, like, what people are about to say, and it's not that other weird stuff that their people are excusing what's happening when in reality something else is happening there. No one's discussing that coincidences aren't always a good thing, which is weird because you would want to do that, and it only takes so long to figure out that that's not fucking coincidence. That's the alien shapeshifter fucking race enslaving the planet and shit. Fucking, that's pretty easy to see after it took me a year going outside around adults to figure that shit out. It may be not even that long. So, I mean, I already knew something was up. Like, that's why I didn't go around them to begin with. But, the beauty is they force themselves upon you since you're born, literally. And, well, you get to learn their patterns from that and everything, which are real simple. So you're like quickly like, yeah, let's find someone else, and then it doesn't even invent someone else because I don't think it can. That's probably the reason why. That's probably the reason why that stuff's been happening, because I've been looking for like another living being and not some like cave person and shit, which is their excuse for. They've never made an excuse for why humans are the way they are. They don't discuss these important things that are happening on the planet because they are the purveyors of the evil that they and their little Muppets purvey across the planet now, aren't they? So, yeah, these things are pretty obvious to see. You know, anyone with a brain when they're born can be like, yeah, I don't think Santa exists. And if you didn't get that far, then, well, you can go back to watching Madonna videos or, you know, whatever fresh rapper they've got advertising to you, a young buck or whatever, or a fucking whiny baby metal. They got some called baby metal, but I'm not talking about that. That's like them advertising 8-year-old girls as sex dolls, like, and everyone's like, yeah, that's great. It's like, yeah, I know what you're thinking when you're looking at an 8-year-old dressed up like that, bro. Fucking, that's why it's so great. Fucking, they shouldn't be fucking dressed like that. They shouldn't be there. Fucking women can be themselves and do it on their own time and not be prostitutes at age 8. But Caesar ain't gonna get sex if prostitutes aren't age 8, because Caesar is gonna have 80-year-old prostitutes be like, no, it's okay, I've got the corona today, we shouldn't touch each other, and give me a call in a few years or something after I've moved to a different country. So, I mean, just pointing out the facts that patterns exist, and the game probably has an explanation for why these patterns exist as well, and shit, why they must be gods, why they must tell everyone, why they must send their people into your life to force you to be with used up trash that they've already used up and destroyed, why they must go breed with everyone else. Obviously that's Nazism, where they must go breed with everyone else and then go back to their own people and shit, because they're trying to rape over the planet, take over the planet through rape. And that's, you know, they tell us that's what their great-grandfather Caesar did. They're just being like, oh, but I'm not Caesar. Yeah, see, supposedly in that story, here's another thing I didn't even think of. Probably the only thing I haven't thought of, I haven't realized yet, is that okay, so they own the book printing press. Caesar owned the book printing presses, and no one else would have. So we know who printed those books. And he's the only person walking around inventing invisible people story, invisible friends stories and shit. And he's inventing a lot of them, a new one every fucking week. So supposedly the next invisible friend story is someone else. Except for who's that someone else? That someone else was a shadow group who controlled Rome. And they tell us that, oh, well, Rome was good people. Italy was good people, and it was these evil people who controlled everything behind the scenes, who invented the original Bible, actually. But the new Bible is not those evil people behind the scenes. It's the Roman Italians inventing it. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. In fact, all the new Bibles, they're never who they say they are, right? Like, obviously, you couldn't be a Satanist if you're related to their people. Yet, they invented Satan, and no one would take the Bible's name if they weren't related to them. It's a book of racial superiority, enslavement, genocide, and pedophilia. I can understand if the average human does want to have sex with dogs and children. Because they are pretty disgusting. I've met a lot of humans, and I can't say outside of a couple girls who just kept their mouth shut that I've not been able to link them all. Like, pretty much a lot of people probably watch my videos thinking it's about them when I don't even fucking know them or remember them. So I just have little memories every now and then. It's like, oh shit. Like, this person's probably watching thinking I'm talking about them, huh? Fucking, like, no. I mean, like, when I say I know people are related to fucking the Pope and shit, obviously that's gonna be like, very few people who get to be related to Caesar and shit. But they look exactly like this and shit, I can tell you that much. Then again, but doesn't every Italian look Italian? Their people are pretty homogenous. All the, Germany, all the Germans I know in America have brown hair, brown eyes, like Hitler and shit. You know, I guess I know one who had blondish hair, but he dropped some weird shit on me. He was an actual Nazi and stuff. He dropped that shit on me where there are people that sounded like where there are people like come outright and tell, like, he wasn't coming outright and saying like I'm German but I'm actually from somewhere else. He was like, oh, there's only 7 of us left in the world, and it's like, you mean, like, well, your people, the people you're not talking about that you supposedly hate, and you're not attacking, and you're attacking other people instead. They change their names constantly, so maybe there's only 7 of you right now and you just invented that. That does seem to make a little more sense to me, but they were actually pagans. But then again, so were the Romans right before they were killed off and collapsed. So anyways, that place would have been controlled by those people all along. I mean, they're lying, and you're figuring out they're lying about everything all along. Like, they're always not who they were. You know, they were always not Amon Ra. Yet they're going around saying Amon this, Amon that. Oh, I got a hamburger today. Amon, thank Amon. And they were supposedly slaves to Amon, right? And that's what our Christian pals who print this money tell us. But for some reason they're putting a pyramid on there as if they were actually them. And the weird thing is also out the other side of their mouth in the Bible, they are saying they're saying that their controlled opposition, Jesus, is telling you that They are the Pharisees and Sadducees, which that goes back to the magicians in Rome, Amon with his bird mask on. Obviously, we're dealing with some sort of alien race who teleports and shapeshifts and is creating the illusion I'm inventing new humans type shit. Fucking, like when I summon new humans, who brings them forth like they're a dog on a leash and shit? Well, I don't think I'm actually summoning humans because there's a leash connected to this motherfucker's neck and shit. It's a fucking obedient dog for someone else. Someone else telling it to lie to me and shit to come around me. I noticed that once I started studying. It's like, okay, so I can continue to ask for this stuff and they'll bring forth humans like they're just non-existent gifts, like they're just a flower in a gift shop that they go, Sean's like, he wants an orange flower, let's go get him an orange flower. And they're like, oh well, they're out of orange flowers, we found a turtle's aquarium. There was a turtle's aquarium there, so we brought that over there. You're gonna have to clean all the turtle shit out of it and stuff, and then here you go, and that'll be $500. And we'll pass later. And don't ever say I didn't give you anything. There's a lot of turtle dung in that aquarium, so that's a good thing. Fucking, you can feed some plants with it or eat it, or because you gotta eat, because you gotta be addicted to food, so you can keep buying food off Caesar, because Caesar won't have any money if you don't buy stuff he sells. So yeah, it's pretty basic. I mean, let me know when I'm wrong about what's going on, and I'll adjust it. But I'm, pretty sure I'm right that there's no Santa Claus, and there's never going to be. A weird thing is alien shapeshifter race, and you are, like, things do appear in the world around you, so, like, Santa Claus or not, but, yeah. That's for Europeans that they colonized and genocided and replaced, and it's mainly for their people to act like they're Europeans by being like, oh yeah, we do those pagan rituals too, like we are you, don't worry about it. That's what it seems to be, right? I mean, that's what Caesar did, isn't it? Isn't that what Caesar did? They told us, I remember back in the 80s, they used to say that that's how all religions worked, and except for our religion, whatever religion you're born into. Maybe your people all say the same thing, like all the others are doing that, but we're the real, true, good children of God. I don't know if, obviously, all the Bible people and the atheists and the Satanists are like, that race is the children of God and not us. Obviously, they have some people right now that they put on TV being like, "Oh, we're the real children of God, not you." And they're in the streets fighting them and stuff. And it's like, well, they brought them over here, and they also have bots on their side too, like Barack. I mean, it's clearly like their minions, right? Because that's an Israeli name. So he raped his father got raped by an invader, and so he gets to become a puppet and a blessing, which is the exact definition of the name Barack, besides 12th century BC ruler of Israel. And besides the definition was Barak Ahud, also the prime minister of Israel at that time in history. So, yeah, I mean, I just put it together. You have a group of people here, and look at what they're doing to USA now. Like, they just put USA in charge of the papacy. But aren't they about to collapse USA too? So you might think that they're up to something here and stuff. They're always trying to get me involved in what they're doing instead of ever letting me be involved in anything I want to do. Well, but One time it was real close to the storyline that they're fucking promoting. And I obviously I'm a fool because I'm like, I've never went around humans before, so I didn't figure it out yet not to do that. Yeah, so you got the same people running across the planet. It looks like Einstein's twins and brothers. Um, Looks like Anton LaVey, the writer, Howard Levy, the writer of the Satanic Bible, has to change his name because it's not going to convince anyone who's. I suppose Satanism was invented to enslave the Europeans. You know, like, yeah, that's Satan, kill it, and you know, like to define it, like heathen used to be. I used to think that was just a replacement for Europeans, but if you just read the text, it's everyone. Maybe it really was just like they've already colonized everyone else from Egypt to Italy at that point, so it probably did mostly mean that. But they took to the east Catholicism. They took that stuff to the west through Europe, and then to the east they took Catholicism. They ended up over there at the Bolshevik slaughter, apparently, and then probably before that, because every time they say they're doing something, they were doing it before they were doing it. Like, they're like, oh, we took over America in the 1920s to stop racism. And so you can see they've stopped racism since the 20s. And by stopping it, what they're doing is they tell everyone else to fight each other and to worship them. So they've stopped and racism. It's not even racism. Racism is for poor, low-class people. You can only have someone be racist against you if you are a lower-class slave. Other than that, it would be anti-Semitism. So they definitely didn't even attempt to put an end to that, because you can't even be racist against them. There's an entire separate word for that. And I also assume that the reason why there has to be a separate word, and they create the word as well, Goyim and Gentiles, I think that's because, I mean, they tell you in their book that there's different species on the planet. They tell you in all their books, pretty much, except for atheism. You know, they tell you there's different species on the planet. And from my studying, there is definitely different codes walking around here. And obviously, we have the empty shell bots, and then we have the other people who look like them just happen to always be often beside someone else or around. You know, if someone rapes you, like, look up and look around and see if someone who looks like Jeffrey Epstein or Caesar is near you. You know, around the corner peeking and watching or something. At the very least, it's generally not that hard. I've never even seen something so obvious where they're around the corner peeking, but sometimes they drop their name and stuff. So you know, like, it's not like they're trying to hide. You know, they're like, hey, you know who my mom is, right? It's like, I do now before you tell me, because you're starting to say the same words your friends have continued to say repeatedly, on repeat, for your entire existence. So I think I've got a clue who you might be if you think you know who and what you are, and you think there's a reason you got to tell me, like you're about to try to kill me, or you did just try to kill me, and you want to brag about it, or whatever the purpose is for these games and stuff. Obviously, only females play games, so if a female is trying to play games with you, then that's either trying to have sex with you, or it's something, right? Like fucking probably So no, who knows what goes on in their minds and shit. Like, I don't know. I've never taken estrogen. I can taken other stuff. I can tell you what goes on in their brains. Fucking. But yeah, and because I've seen it so much, I would never take that. I don't. I already drink bleach and stuff. Fucking, the equivalent of bleach is probably better for my insides. It should take so long, you would think. I mean, all this other shit's taking so long. You got the humans working together to feed me amphetamines, and you got me trying to help them, and whatever you guys were putting in my champagne in 2020 when I caught you, and fucking shit. I mean, how many drugs did I used to have sitting on my fucking shelf and shit? But yeah, Caesar did that too. Caesar did the drugging. That's not new. The government drugs people. Caesar used to put alcohol in the water to purify it and stuff. Right? That was their excuse. Just like fluoride's in the water to help your teeth. And it's not to pay Lord Caesar $1 million tribute and Lord Caesar to put alcohol in the water to make you fucking drunk and stupid. Definitely not related to that, because they're not Lord Caesar, right? Like, that was some other evil people that and they told us that in the book. They invented the word, and it's actually a ritual, not a word, scapegoat. And so they beside them saying, oh, evil Amon Ra, New World Order. I love the New World Order though. Evil Amon Ra. We are the victims of Amon Ra. And let me tell you this little story about how we scapegoat things. Let me tell you about our scapegoat ritual. And then it's back to kill everybody. And then it's back to then it's on to and then God said, come down and suck baby penis. And everyone was all like, oh my God, why would you do that, God? And God was like, oh, I am Lord. You will do what I say. And he killed someone with a lightning bolt who asked the question, why would you do that, Lord? And everyone else was like, oh, well, we better go start having sex with babies now. And he's going to get mad. And the burning bush told me, after it killed the person who questioned, it said, you better start raping and mutilating those children. And then in the next chapter, it's, oh, them Europeans or heathens who mutilate children, we must kill them all for Caesar. Yeah, shit. What's his new name now? We haven't come up on. Oh, the guy we can't name. Yeah, that's the guy we can't name. Did you know that? You know, that like they had a brain fart moment. They were running out of ideas. They had like they'd already invented like 240 different gods, and they just 240 gods is a hell of a lot. There's only like 7 horror movies and probably 1 romance movie. And I wouldn't know about that, but you know, there's only like 5, 6 action type movies. And so yeah, inventing like 240 gods over 6,000 years is like actually like that's thinking outside the box there. But it looks like they might have ran out of ideas at one point in time, because they were like, we can't say his name. Yeah, that's his name. We can't say his name. So, yeah. And all this is beautiful because we get to sit around and talk about it, right? Because talk. Talking is good for who? Well, it's good for homosexuals and women. That's who does all the talking, and that's where that's going to get you in life, is getting bent over in a bar somewhere. Um, or you're going to be a slave. You're going to go to school and listen to people talk at school. And then you get to be a slave. And then you get to die and go to heaven. And you actually get to die and forget everything. And your entire life was just a waste if you spent it at school. So, yeah, that's pretty sad. I'm assuming the shit I was born with was like preset loadouts I chose, and not like stuff I wasted centuries learning. That's stupid. Like, you tell me for centuries I didn't do anything I wanted, and I did all this other slave shit. Yeah. 0 cents there. Although we do have Earth, where you're not allowed to do anything you want, because the do-nothing humans' lives seem to be dedicated to preventing you from doing anything. So, hey, maybe that has been going on for thousands of years. You just come here and they're like, don't do anything. Just give me your baby penis. No, just lay back for a few years and then go work at McDonald's. And then you can't work at all if you mention any of this to anyone else. Then you can't work at all. So you better not talk about this to anybody. Okay? This is between me and you in the church. And Julian Caesar. Such a sexy boy, Julius. So sexy. So sexy. He's so sexy. He's like this. Oh, actually, he doesn't have Marcus Aurelius hair. He has no hair. No, actually, you can see in his earlier pics, he probably did have Marcus Aurelius and Einstein hair, right? That's weird. The gods always have that type of hair and stuff. And then they like, part of their propaganda is they go around like trying to convince me I'm God, so I play games with them. If you've ever seen on TV, there's a lot of people they put on TV. You'll see a new one every year or two that they say, we found Jesus, and he's literally leading like 100 people. And there's like a new one every couple years at least that they show you. Imagine how many there are that they don't show you. So it's like, there's a hell of a lot of Jesuses on the planet, and I'm very convinced that I'm Jesus, and I'm going to be able to play along really well, because I'm just stupid. You know, all the drugs they've fried me with over the years, I won't be able to fucking remember 2 years ago when Jesus appeared on earth, or the 2 years before that when a different Jesus appeared on earth, or the 2 years before that when a different Jesus appeared on earth, or the 2,000 years before that when people said Jesus appeared on earth. And the Romans told me that. And you can see there too, like we have continually they're like innocent do-nothings who own everything. Like, look at X. Look at all the Nazi websites. They're victims. They're like, they're invading Europe. They're invading America. Donald Trump's like, they're invading. Those Middle Easters are invading us. Let's go bomb Palestine and steal some land from them, though. We don't have time for all that. So, like, you can see, like, their human personality type from day one is their ability to just make up deceptions and lies. Not even make them up, repeat them. They don't even have the mental capacity to be inventing new things. They're plagiarizing their Bible from 6,000 years ago, still to this day. They can't successfully write a new thing, except for the atheism, which is like, yeah, it's kind of invented, but it's not. It's 6,000 years later, and the best they could come up with is change the word heaven to space, and change the word God to genius and say it's a school of thought. It seems a little bit different, doesn't it? It's enough to make you be like, oh, they've got a new shiny trinket. Yes, they do. And it was for me. I was like, oh, these books are so good, man. They must be real and stuff. They're saying they're real. I'm doing things from them, and it's really happening. Sometimes, not all the time. Not enough to convince me it's real, because shit, where does it talk about moving the sun in science, and where does it talk about summoning human clones? Where does it talk about alien shapeshifter race on the planets, and where does it talk about what to do with aliens when they try to colonize your planet and enslave and rape and kill everyone? You know, pretty much it's an arm of the government, just like religion is an arm of the government. Like, literally, religion comes from the government telling you it's God. That's where lords come from. They were kings. That meant king 7,000 years ago. And put it together. You get a whole bunch of fucking dipshits, fucking, who are terrorists, pedophile, fucking scumbags, preventing living beings on the planet from doing much of anything, trying to force them to do everything. Sounds exactly like fucking, we're talking about Lord Caesar here, right? I guess some people liked him. I forget that if all my friends are Italian, then they were fucking Romans, right? I forget that that's probably why they're all pro fucking war and genocide, but and always talking about it. R, not were. Yeah, I didn't realize that when I was little, because I think I had them around me a bunch, so no one was educating me. You know, like if I had a child, I'd be like, hey, did you know? I'd be like teaching it, like, well, you're on a planet here where there's people enslaving the planet, there's pedophiles all around us, there's cult members, they're drug dealers too, they're fucking, they're going to lie to you and deceive you constantly, and I'm going to have to protect you from that. I guess I'm the only person who's fucking actually a parent and not just breeding to raise Nazis. So, you know, that's the only thing a kid needs to know is he's on planet slave, and these other people are fucking extremely fucking psychotic and manipulative. The definition of psychotic is fucking a violent, fucking lying, manipulating person who's hiding what they are. And that definitely fits the bill for the Santa Clausites, and fits the bill for fucking Lord Caesar, doesn't it? Lord Caesar. Fucking so sexy. I couldn't, you know, if I was alive back then, I couldn't wait for one of his women who looked exactly like him to come and colonize my ass. I'd be like, ooh, baby, we're getting colonized today. I love it. So good. Gonna get colonized. Ooh. It's even, you know, in typical their fashion, as I point out to you constantly, they put the dickies on the ass. I mean, like, did you think that was like a little too far-fetched? Why did Jeffrey Epstein create a clothing line that puts the word pink on females' fucking ass and vagina? Huh? There you go. And they put dickies on the men. You think that's a mistake? They put that Jeffrey Epstein puts pink on everyone's ass. It's not a mistake that the women put pink on their ass. I guarantee you that. No woman picks that up and be like, what does this mean? I mean, you're not even smart enough to be able to be shopping alone without the help of someone pushing you in a wheelchair. If you look at that clothing and I'll be like, what does that mean? Oh, I like the color pink. Let me write that on my ass. Let me get it tattooed on my ass. How about that? Well, that's a good idea. I'll get it tattooed around my nipples too. because they're pink, and wow, 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 I'm half pink. I didn't even notice that. That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna get pink tattooed all over my body where I'm actually pink. That way people know it's pink. And, you know, it's almost like they're labeling the bots or something. Like, this is a prostitute. Like, hey, they do put on the red light in their windows so you come knocking on their door and stuff. Fucking, yeah, so. I bet you all those Instagram girls wear that pink stuff. You think that they go to the store, they have to have their pimp fucking buy their clothing because they're like retarded in a wheelchair most when they're not taking pictures, and they go around the store and they're like, pink? What is that? And then the pimp's gonna be like, that's a color, bitch. Shut up. I'm buying you that. You think they're that retarded? I don't think so. You think Jeffrey Epstein's that retarded that he's like, oh, they like pink. Well, where should we put the word pink on the clothing? Generally, don't even write clothing on the butt. But I think we should put the words on the butt this time. Huh. 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 That's so odd that, like, even when I say something so far-fetched like that, that we have solid evidence it's actually the fucking reason it's done. Yeah. I didn't make up that they fucking made clothing with the word pink on it on people's vaginas and stuff. They did that. Yeah. That's obvious. Like, you really I guarantee you haven't made it. You don't even know how to get on the internet if you haven't seen that and figured out. Well, that's a CP right there. You guys don't know what that means anymore, do you? But back in the day, there used to be like, you didn't like people who were handouts. You know, you had like morals and values, but these people, without handouts, without women and little boy handouts, they wouldn't be getting laid much, would they? You think Einstein went into the synagogues and the churches and everyone was like, ooh, baby, it's so sexy. They got to invent ways to get what they want. So they invent clothing with the word pink on it so they can figure out who's the easiest to prey upon and make money while doing it. And of course, if you discuss that with these people, they would deny that that's why it's done, even though everyone in the world knows that's what that's about. Because the first thing, literally, what else is it? They're stupid, and they're so stupid that they should be in a wheelchair and locked down in it in a rubber jacket at the same time. Fucking, that they couldn't buy their own clothing, but yet they should somehow stumble in the store and buy. Right, okay. That is a Santa Claus-ite story, though. They would come up with something like that if you don't cut them off and provide the story with them first and laugh at them for it first. Fucking, they definitely spent a lot of time the last few decades coming up with nonsense. They're still doing it. Like they told me, Caesar earlier today is mentally retarded, and he's not one of their race who's stalking me my whole life, along with his little retarded minions, who obviously they would look very similar. The one actually saying that shit, fucking, I don't even know if they knew each other, but the one who came by looked even more Jeffrey Epstein than Shlomo. Shlomo had the cross on, the whitish looking Shlomo had the cross on, and he was like, I'm Marine. And I'm like, fuck you and your government. Like, it's like, I'm literally telling you you're a fucking terrorist, rapist, and murderer. Like, and you're going to back that up by, you're going to counter that lie I'm telling by being like, I'm a Marine. You know, I was a Marine. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm fucking tired of your shit because he's fucking with my clothing. Who knows if he was stealing shit from me or not. Like, I should actually watch out for that and see if I'm missing. Hold up, I will be back. No, I had to check. He was just purposely fucking with my fucking laundry and shit. Like opening it and looking in it, apparently. You'd think with the cross on, he would be stealing my heavy metal shirts or something. So I forgot to check for that. So I should do that. Should have did that right then. But, like, so I'm like fucking confronting him about being a bitch and fucking with my laundry. And like, he's like fucking running my money out and shit, turning off the machine and shit. And, he's like coming all the way down from fucking like 8 houses down and shit to do it. Fucking. And he's like, I'm a Marine. I was like, you see what I'm saying? The human's like, I'm pretty much like, dude, like, I'm tired of your terrorist ass fucking people fucking doing everything you're doing, you know, like invading my life, fucking colonizing my life, and fucking causing me fucking problems 24/7, following me across the fucking map and causing me fucking problems and shit, whatever city, state, street, nation I'm in. And fucking my entire life is shit because of you. And so he counters that by being like, well, I'm a Marine. It's like, well, dude, so you're an official fucking neo-Nazi fucking colonizer from the Middle East. Like, damn, dude. You're an official fucking Roman scumbag and shit. You're not just any Roman scumbag. You're like, I mean, that's like one of those things, like, there are people know better than to talk about with me, right? But they'll like confirm it. Like when I'm telling people about this and they show up, they're already sitting right there. And I'm like, hey, did you know there's this other group fucking stalking us and preventing us from talking about them doing it and controlling the world and shit? And they're gonna. I'm telling them this because I'm coming from a group that they're controlling and manipulating, and this is the counter to that group. So I'm there to be like, yeah, watch out for the controllers and the manipulators because they're likely to show up here. And then they come over and they're like, you can't talk to them like that. They'll never believe you if you just come out and say that stuff to them. I was like, why are you telling them you're doing it? What's the point of that? Are you guys already working together as fucking one evil human entity versus me and shit? Fucking, like, do they already know that you're the fucking bad guy and they already know that they're working with you? And, that's weird because that was 2020, right? So there's a lot of people who were ever working with them the whole time. They forced their way into my life, and then were working with them and trying to kill me for them in the open, like they had tried before on accident for them. Or actually, no one's ever said it was an accident, any of the shit they did. They just do it and keep doing it, right? Fucking, we still have them trying to force drugs on me, trying to force their drugs on me, and trying to jack up prices and make it illegal to get the old drugs they tried to force on me and shit. Fucking, like, they're not changing. They lack the mental capacity. I think they have a brain. I don't think they have brains. You're telling me this scum has never evolved from fucking thousands of years ago. I literally can change in an hour. And I've changed at least once every decade and shit. Fucking, and I can hone myself in very fucking well to what I need to be as I learn what's actually going on here. And supposedly they're the same rapists, genocider, pedophiles
up until 60 years ago when they invented science and atheism and Satan, and they finally brought out Satanism after they invented it 2,000 years ago, or 6,000 years ago. Technically 6,000 years ago, so they're still on that with that. And I'm going to assume one of the cults before, one of the governments and non-religions before was probably pretty similar to atheists, because clearly they had that Newton guy set up a long time ago. And so, you know, he was the genius for people who didn't believe the rest of their stories, up until Einstein genocided the Japanese to steal their land, and the Germans to steal their land. So that's, you know, I don't even think it's new, right? I don't think the science atheist cult is even new. It might be, but they lack the ability to do anything new. So, kind of don't think so. It took them like 40 years to, I still don't know if they actually invented those things, because we've always had people saying they are things that they actually aren't, especially the ones that they choose to force into my life, which, again, it makes no sense to do that if you're trying to manipulate me, if you're trying to enslave me, if you're trying to destroy me and prevent me from having my own life. If you don't want to get caught, just leave out the one or two fucking tells, you know, like their non-brains can't seem to figure it out that they are the enemy, and they are deciding, they are telling me they are the enemy and shit. Obviously, in their scripts, they realize they are their enemies, or they wouldn't be doing the things they do. But it's like their non-brains can't figure it out that they're telling me like they're the enemies. And they have that thing where they're like, "Oh, we're doing it to release our karma," but it's like sometimes it's so, you know, far out that I don't think their brains can process it. I'm pretty sure. How do we have people who fucking failed kindergarten with their B's and C's and D's and F's, and they have some 6,000-year-old plan that their families have worked together for, and the whole world was illiterate until the year 2004, when everyone came online and became literate, unless it's all bots online, and then that would make more sense than magically one day people got the corona antivirus and it upgraded them with literacy, or Caesar was just making up excuses to collect money when he was on TV being like, all them poor people we just enslaved and bombed are illiterate, so donate your money to them. Donate all your money to those people we're bombing and we brought over here in shackles and slaves. We're going to send the money back there instead of giving the money to here. And yeah, we're going to let their schools collapse here so they become illiterate here. But we're going to take Bibles over there and have them learn to read the Bible. And like we tried there, like we did before when we left with boatloads full of people, slaves. Like, look at look, they left Ireland with boatloads of slaves too, and the people left in that nation are like obsessed with Catholicism, supposedly. So it looks like they're going to places, stealing the natives and shipping them to different places, and leaving themselves behind to rape a few people and repopulate the place. Kind of looks that way from that, right? Like with the Native Americans, I find it really weird because the rest of the world's history, there's China, the Opium War, and the Native Americans, where they did something different that doesn't seem to be common. China, they just left. They like won a war against them and they left. Have you ever even heard of that? What type of good genocidal colonizer and enslaver has a war for a long time and destroys a nation and then leaves, unless the whole point was to destroy Europe so they could take it over and colonize it and turn it into a Middle Eastern Christian propaganda base to or simply to collapse it and stuff. It seems to be, the controlled collapses them. Look what they're doing to the USA right now. They're like purposely jacking up the egg, making fake egg prices. They're putting their Caesar tax, their tariff out there. They're taxing the marijuana. They're making it so their people can be the only people selling the marijuana, but they're putting their government, their Caesar tax on it and shit. They got their kosher tax on food, where they force companies to pay them money just to make food and have the symbol on it. And it's just a way. It's just another trivia. You give money on Sunday. When you buy a food, 50% of that food's price is involved in them just finding a way to steal money and make you donate it to them because they're gods. But they're scared to say that, and they can only trick so many people, and they give them so much money every Sunday. So they have to then come up with Star Trek and New World Order, which is more about people who actually know what's going on, selling out and getting their rewards from the bird god Amon Ra. People wearing their bird masks. Yeah, it's odd. Who looks like a bird right here? This Julius Caesar guy looks like a bird rodent. Looks like a flying rat. Kind of like they got those far-in eyes and the huge face. Like as you can see with the Rothschild, they have that, like, they generally have that huge lower mandible, but he's just got a fucking huge head, and his face is real small right here. It's weird. It's like and they say that's from interbreeding, supposedly. They also say they're cursed, but there you go. He looks like a bird, so he would be the person who would be able to be like, I'm a half bird, and convince some morons he's a half bird. As if that happened. I mean, the humans would definitely have to be non-existent bot species to ever have been like, oh, that guy with the bird mask must be a half bird. It's a half bird. He put on a bird mask and now he's a half bird. Yep. Watch him limp away on his cane like all birds do. Yep. And then when they changed their religion, they brought wings eventually. That's like later invented. Like they just invented angels had wings, like I think in the past couple hundred years. So they got like an obsession with birds. Their little race, when they were stalking me in 2020, when I said I was going to go around the corner and talk to the next person I speak to about this shit, and they had one of their alien shapeshifters appear at the dumpster talking to me about my private life and shit. He was talking to me about birds too, so their bird brains are obsessed with some bird shit. Probably just because that's what bird brains do, is obsess over bird brains. And little birds, little penises, they like little things. They like little nations because they're easier to conquer. They like little brain slaves. That's why they kill off intelligent people and create cults that keep people stupid and rape their way into families and force the children to be stupid so they can, don't do anything. This is a cave club. That's what good people do. They take a cave club and they bop each other on the head. All them stupid computers and all that stupid economy and Wall Street and stock trading and math and science. Just don't do that. And then if you get some people who don't get into the fold, you gotta invent something like, like if you're like, but what if Scooby-Doo isn't real? And do you have any evidence of Scooby-Doo's? Do you have any evidence of Cthulhu? I know you said he has 8 arms. He's a squid with 8 arms. But do you have any evidence Cthulhu exists? No? No, well, that's okay. You've already taken my entire life from me by talking to me about Cthulhu for my entire life. I'd like to go die in peace. If you don't mind, quit talking to me, quit trying to have sex with me, and quit touching me. okay? And they're like, no. But Einstein doesn't believe in that either. Have you heard of Einstein? Well, he said BD square, triangle, hexagon, apatupufu. Like, do you know what apatupufu is? No? Oh, it's advanced algebra. You know algebra? No. Oh, it's advanced math. You know math though, right? Yeah, I know math. That's why I'm adding it up, that your stories aren't making any sense. Well, Einstein loves math. That's what, as you can tell, that's a math equation. BCD plus triangle, hexagon, and pyramid, and Jello, pudding pops equals 99 to the second power of octopus. Bro, wow. And then you get someone who's like, oh my god, I don't even know math like that. It's so crazy. I never even thought of it like that, man. Oh man. You got any drugs, man? Pass the bong, man. Oh man. Fucking. This is the true story of human evolution, my friends. This is the true story of human evolution right here. This is how you get to people sucking children's dicks for God and chopping off their children's wieners and cutting their faces off to replace it with something else so you don't look like this guy. And we are living in this world. This is real. Living people are living in this world. And this is what's happening. There are people who are running around talking about sucking baby dicks for their invisible friend who's going to torture you if you don't do it with them and let them suck your baby's dicks. And then they're chopping off men's wieners so they can be females, and as if and they're already females, so just they already look like like Caesar here, that looks like a female. It looks like Dara Land, right? So it's Caesar. I'm sure he doesn't. One of his wives aren't those people. Caesar raped everyone, didn't he? He just went nation to nation having sex with everyone, and that's the stories they tell us, right? So he didn't have a problem because he just killed everyone, right? You don't get to decide who you have sex with when you're dead, when you're a slave, when your parents were killed by someone, or when one of your parents was killed by someone. Maybe their people have raped their way into your family's life as their Bible commands them to. See, that's another thing there too, is the parallels between Caesar and the original Bible people. They got their stories where they rape. They go into your nation and they rape you, and that's that. And they have children with you, and now they run. Now Caesar, now you're part of Rome because your parents were just raped and killed, and now Caesar lives there. Now Caesar's child lives there because they waited until the woman had her baby to kill her, and now Caesar's child lives there, and it's part of the Roman Empire. And then, so obviously they would have changed their names, but look how many times they changed their names, and now they have the Roman. Now they're bringing the Pope over here as if they weren't already over here. It's in the news 24/7. No one gives a shit about the Pope, but they put it on TV because it's their race. That's them doing the colonizing, and that's their controlled opposition. Like they always try to act like they're such different people. Like literally, it's a Nazi cult, and they worship one race, Caesar's race. Like, they all are. The Muslims do it too. The Muslims aren't really helping the Palestinians, or they wouldn't be getting invaded and have their shit stolen. Supposedly, Palestinians aren't Muslims. So, they're not preventing that. And, the only fucking thing I can think about them that's good is they're raping women instead of men. And that's like, that's like a whole world of difference there, and a step in the right direction to stop having sex with men. And, you're supposed to have sex with women. Like, maybe they're getting something wrong. Maybe they're getting confused by the people who beat them with the Quran. And you can see what their people do is once Caesar goes in and invents all these things, he uses his media to have all these people go kill each other. And they're probably halflings. They're probably all related because their parents were probably raped and killed a long time ago. And thus, they're part of one of the slave cults. I don't know exactly what the Quran says, but it does sound more like a master cult. The Bible definitely sounds like close to a master cult. They're like, yeah, let's kill our enemies, and we're gonna throw homos off the building, and we're only gonna rape women. Like, that sounds like a master cult where you go then create, when Caesar invades someone, he's like, oh, no, we're not gonna rape our little boys. Our men are gonna be men. But what we're going to do when we invade people, we're going to teach them to rape their boys, and we're going to rape their boys with them. That way they're bitches, and they are our slaves. And, they even tell you that the book is for the other people. And that's the third and fourth book. Because the third and fourth are basically the same. And then, since then they've rewritten each of them like 10,000 times. Actually, I don't know if they've rewritten the Catholic Bible 10,000 times. The reason they worship the mother is because the mother was probably, in that story, their stories, the mother is a whore who goes and rapes other people to destroy their families and destroy their nations and take them over. That's the story of Esther. And so that'd be why the Catholics do that, and they worship the Romans too. So it's likely that they are the Romans worshiping themselves, like to keep the cult together, just like the whole thing is about to keep the cult together, or you wouldn't keep keeping it together, like keep making up new versions of it to make it fresh and acceptable. For new people, you need to rape the children of and stuff like that. So what a waste of life Earth has been, dude. It's like, we got the story laid out here. Been the same story since I came here, minus one or two things. Isn't that weird that you can slightly change it too? It's like it doesn't exist at all, but it exists enough for people who have to fucking exist to be the problem it is that you have to talk about it and shit. And which is fucked up, because that's a step in their direction. A man having to talk, a man sitting around talking is a step in the direction of becoming one of these he-she's. Last I checked, that's what women do, is sit around and talk. And men didn't used to do that stuff. But then again, men also didn't used to cut off their dicks and go fuck each other in the boys' restroom and shit. I think they only fucked each other at in high school during the gym showers. That felt weird and uncomfortable. But obviously the athletes like touching each other and stuff, so they wouldn't be part of that. But other than that, they weren't cutting off each other's dicks and be like, I won the wrestling match, I'm gonna cut your dick off now, you're my girlfriend. They didn't. That's but it was hidden, by these people. These people invented this 6,000 years ago, where they cut off your baby's dicks and suck it, and then here we are 6,000 years later, they're trying to get everyone to just be their little sex slaves and shit. And so what would you expect from anyone who did that? That's the only reason you do that, unless you're just like a sick psycho killer who's chopping up babies for fun and doing that to piss the people off. I could see like if like you're a psycho killer, or if someone else is a psycho killer, you go like mutilate them and chop them up, or that's what psycho killers do. Um, but other than that, it sounds more like people are trying to convince other people to be slaves, which is, I mean, we have a lot of the human race coming into my life, trying to force me to be part of pedophile homosexuality. Like, since I'm born, not just the Christians. Like, the Christians literally had rooms with homos and pedo who are acting like pedos, definitely. And obviously, it's the church. It's pedos and it's homo pedos. It's a church north of the equator, above the latitude, away from the latitude and longitude lines from the equator. That seems to be where that spread to. Like I said, the one cult for some reason doesn't touch men, and then the other cults are supposed to be homosexuals from their birth, from the day they're born. They're supposed to learn that old men are going to be having sex with them, and that's just the way it is. And there's going to be a whole room full of people who help the old men, perform sexual acts on them and mutilate them to let them remember that memory. That way they can remember in 20 years, because they're not going to remember when they're born that they're a homo, but they can remember 20 years later that they were involved in some homosexual orgies over at the fucking hospital or the church, or sometimes in someone's backyard. But rarely it's done, in the public, in professional buildings, to let people know that you are, the property of Rome, and you will be Rome's little sex toy, and that's that. And it's obvious this is how we wouldn't do these things if we didn't have reasons to do them. We didn't have invisible Scooby-Doo or invisible Velma or invisible Transformers. They didn't come to Earth and be like, I'm invisible bush burning speaking. You gotta suck off children and mutilate them, and then invent 250 other invisible burning bushes. Yeah. I mean, it really, the first second any of these people speak to you when you're a toddler, you're like, man, what's the purpose of this person speaking? Why aren't they in school or in a library and becoming educated? And that way they can say something of value. And then you learn in life, well, people who are intelligent don't speak. They do things. That's how they become intelligent. People do things, don't speak. That's how they learn to do things, is they don't speak. And thankfully, you can also study humans when you don't speak too, because they'll tell you everything you need to know about them. But these people are obsessed with raping children, mutilating children, doing it in the open, making it a professional, acceptable thing. They're obsessed with going out in the street and threatening to kill you if you don't let them rape your children, which eventually they're going to get to, it's time to play with your children's wieners. Like they don't say the other on the street. Now on the streets they come up to you, you're a complete stranger, and they're like, hey, my enemy is going to torture and kill you if you do not worship me. And you can tell by the way these people look, that's what goes on in their head, is things like sucking babies' dicks, and my enemy who is actually my fucking twin brother, and we're fucking best friends, and they're helping me fucking invade and kill other people. My enemy's Satan. over there fucking funding Israel. Good old Church of Satan. You wouldn't even be a church. You wouldn't even write a Bible if you weren't part of them. You wouldn't do none of that shit. You wouldn't take their words from them. You wouldn't. That's why in their books they have to lay it out so precisely. Like, I can explain it all to you because it's real simple fucking propaganda. They never refer to him as Satan as much as they do the Antichrist. That's why that word's so important, because anyone smart enough to fucking not be part of their pedophile rape shit is going to be anti-Christian. Like, anyone who doesn't like pedophiles and homos, like, there's not really a reason to dislike homos except for the fact that men are rapists, and they're disgusting looking pigs, and so they're trying to have sex with anything. So they're, it's not even that. It's anti-male to me, because I see that they do the same thing to fucking females, and they're disgusting fucking pigs and shit. So they're fucking definitely trash and shit. But when they like men, they're the same trash towards men. They're like, ooh, baby, ooh, I love you. You want to be my boyfriend? And, like, maybe I'll be like, well, you gotta come over during the hours my current 10 boyfriends aren't there. Yeah. And then, but you're the only one I love, baby. That's the type of people who do that. Whores don't get with whores. If you're old enough, if you like associate with humans enough, whores like whores like weak people they can prey upon. Usually, fucking, it's like, maybe that's just men in general. They're fucking weak and cowardly and have to prey upon weak people because they're fucking weak and couldn't prey upon anyone else. I do notice that some other people do that, but those might actually just be separate traits that come with these packages sometimes. Fucking, obviously your studies become a little secluded when everyone you know is a person who is a predator, because people have to force their way into your life, and you definitely don't go talk to them. I don't go up to men being like, hey, you want to be my boyfriend? Then like an hour later be like, psych, no, I don't like you. Fucking, I don't do that. So I wouldn't know how non-predatory males act. Yeah. And non-predatory females, I don't think I've ever been able to study any of those myself either. I don't think I've ever chose anyone I didn't want to date, or I wanted to date, so haven't got to study them. But yeah, isn't that great? So the Romans are still with us, aren't they? Did they ever leave? They're great. They invented their Bible. You tell them, like, I think that was common knowledge like 40 years ago. Like, where did the Bible come from? Like, it magically appeared out of nowhere in Italy, in Rome, right after Rome collapsed, supposedly collapsed. And then, I mean, they run the nations to their end and then wring them dry, and then go build the new empire in the new place they just robbed land from. Pretty easy history, You can follow the footprints, the foot trail. They didn't used to have planes. They had to travel on foot from Egypt to Israel to Italy to UK, and then they got boats and they came over to USA and Australia, and so there we have it. Like the main route here is we have the Egyptians up in North America right now, if I'm correct. And you know what? How am I not correct? at they're putting the Egyptian pyramid on the dollar bill. How am I incorrect? Did I make the dollar bill? Am I doing that to fool you? I went back in time and I invented the money printing press, and I invented all the humans too, and therefore what I did was I invented this dollar bill and I had it printed this way, and then I invented the founding fathers who argued about worshiping the Illuminati pyramid. And that's why they did it, because I made it up. Oh, I made it up. I made it up that this bald head wig wearing moron is so much like Trump because he's a bald headed wig wearing moron. Trying to steal land too. Fucking, I guess the more we get back to our roots, the more we in the open we can act like ourselves, huh? Interesting. I just happen to be born in that time when they come back too. Like, back in the open, they've been hiding for a while because they had to rebuild their empire. They couldn't just steal one small land on Plymouth Rock and then be like, we're gonna kill you, China, and they got like 5 tents set up over there, and then China would be like, oh yeah, Paper Tiger, you tough guy. It wouldn't have been like the Opium Wars where they waged war for like 100 or 200 years and to kill them off, and then backed off for some reason, unbeknownst to man. Someone knows the answer, and it's not positive. We have a strong suspicion to believe that one time a 200-year war ended, it was for very negative fucking reasons it ended. Because what else is it? Why else would they end their war? When have they ended their wars before? When they have successfully taken over the lands that they're waging the war in is the only time they've ever ended a war. They've been fighting in the Middle East to steal that land for thousands of years. They've been fighting in the Ukraine area, the Khazarian area, for hundreds to thousands of years. They've been fighting in the Venezuela, Mexico area for at least 300 years, right? At least. And we just invaded Mexico at the start of the year. And Biden had actually started invading it low-key, 2022. And I think it was. And so, there's choke points on the map where these armies can march across them and take over and kill everyone and steal their land. Except for they don't always kill people. So that's some weird shit. Think of the Native Americans in the Opium War. They didn't kill all those people in the Opium War, and they generally don't kill everyone off like they did with the Native Americans. So there's something different about that, and people have always said that that's because the Native Americans were closer to God, like spirituality, like they used magic or something, which is like, obviously these are all stories of witchcraft, no matter which religion you believe in. That's some witchcraft shit. You got a half-bird god and stuff. It sounds like some demonic witchcraft shit. And they're doing baby sacrifices. Supposedly, maybe they weren't doing baby sacrifices. Maybe they were always doing what they're doing today. And they were just making excuses to rape children. And they're like, it's for God. It's for God. And then they gotta mutilate the child too, because only a moron would be like, oh yeah, you're sucking the baby's dicks for God. Oh yeah. Well, come here, I got a secret to tell you. And then they chop off their head. That's the natural reaction when someone talks about sucking off your child. Or any baby, it's just like, hey, yeah, he's dead. And everyone else learns. Everyone else learns to keep it in the closet. Like, except for they don't have to keep it in the closet, do they? Like, I don't know. Maybe they do, but so many people aren't involved. You would think it's a day-to-day thing. How many people in my life were sent there just to like try to turn me into one of their people? Like, they have a lot of people. They have a lot of people who work for them and a lot of people who will protect them. I could tell my own family this shit, that someone just tried to rape and kill me, and they fucking get pissed because they know that they were the ones doing that shit fucking a long time ago and shit. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense why they would get pissed, right? Like I said, I'm talking to my friends my whole life. I didn't talk, so I listened to them. But I'm sure every now and then someone probably heard me say something like, "Oh, I don't like these mass murdering fucking scumbags on my land," and shit like that. I don't know if I ever told anyone that in the open, but it was so weird because like everyone sent to me is like a genocidal mass murdering motherfucker. Like, like you can tell like by their propaganda. They're always talking about war and shit. Like, it's like a girl obsessing over fucking a broken nail or something like that. Like, hey, my family died trying to steal that land, and now I'm going to go back and kill them all and stuff. We gotta do it. Build me a boat. Invent boats so I can go across the ocean and go kill those people who killed my parents who were trying to kill them and take their land. I can't believe they're evil people. They're evil people. How dare you destroy Lord Caesar? He was God. You killed Caesar. He killed God. We will get you for this. So apparently, what this God Lord shit really just means is until Caesar invented invisible people stories, was that was just who led the earth. Like who enslaved and killed the most people and could convince other people to worship them. Like, I could do that, but like this whole, like, I don't need like a pedophile cult. Like, I don't need, like, literally they spend a lot of time destroying me. So, I mean, they have smoked themselves fucking enough crack, I don't know. I just, but there's no telling if anything's going on inside their brains and stuff, but I'm like born against that shit, and then I'm like, now I'm being recruited. Like, they were trying to recruit me like 40 years, for 40 years they're trying to recruit me. And the recent recruitment is that I am actually God. Like, no one says that in the open. They all say behind closed doors, which is pretty weird considering their race owns the media and everything. If they found God, he should come out on TV and be like, "Hey, we found God. See, we told you guys. We told you guys." Nope. They don't do that. But they bring out these other people who look like me on TV and tell you they are Jesus. Every couple years there's a new one. So they must be specifically targeting people. Maybe these bald-headed mutant rat motherfuckers figured out that people who look certain ways act certain ways. Like bald-headed rat pedophile mutant-looking motherfuckers are always pedophiles, mutant-acting motherfuckers. Jeffrey Dahmer looks like a pedophile. Fucking, how is that? How does he look like a pedophile? And he's like one of the most famous pedophiles in the world. Woody Allen. He looks like someone who's gonna rape kids. That one's like explained away by my assumption that they gotta do what they can to get laid, and probably, especially back then, what else are you going to do? Play a video game? You're either going to have sex or you're going to go kill people. Not much else to do. count the blades of grass. That's what they tell us now. That's what Caesar tells us now, to go outside and look at the trees and count the trees. 1 tree, 2 tree. Ooh, 1 blade of grass, 2 blade of grass, 5 blades of grass. Ha 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 ha. 5 blades of grass. Ha 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 ha. Ooh, what color is that grass? It's green. What color is that grass, son? It's green, Dad. And what color is that grass, son? It's green, Dad. And what color is that grass? You can go educate your child in the woods. Too bad I don't have any children to educate on dumb shit like that. Yeah, if I did, it's probably bad. Like, I wouldn't trust, I definitely don't trust people when I'm being forced people into my life and don't like any of them. So that would be weird if I had a child and I had to be like, same thing my parents said, I don't like your parents, like, you're a mistake. Try not to make big mistakes like that, like going and raping my enemy, thinking that's gonna, I guess, I'd be worried that my child would become a retard and wouldn't be a genius. So I don't have any, if I was on the other end, though, I could see, raping other people to make my empire better, and like, my child will end up being better after this and shit. Like, that'd be a dumb idea to go around raping people, like the Bible says, to bring them, make them extinct or part of your family. You would have to kill the child, not just the person you're with, because the child would be half of your enemies. And that's not going to lead to anything good. If you're like going around raping and killing the entire planet, and then you have a child with your enemy, because that child is probably going to be your enemy. It is. If you have a child with your enemy, that child's already half your enemy. But their people, I'm sure, understand that. That's why they create cults to enslave them and abuse and rape them. The Abrahamics create the cults for the Gentiles. When they go and rape a Gentile, they force you to join the cult. And the cult teaches you not to do anything and to be a good, low IQ slave, and talk about Santa Claus, and be a homosexual, and be a pedophile, and to have kids and teach them the same thing. Caesar's got it worked out. All this changing the religions over hundreds and thousands of years, their people have it worked out. And they got the science thing worked out, because there are clearly non-existent beings on this planet. And that would obviously be little bots that they have already invented to enslave the planet with. And that's probably where the actual talk of God and the half-bird people can come from, is when they perform their parlor tricks and they're trying to hide what they're doing, like they're making up lies about who and what they are when they do those things. And they're like, that was Satan. See, that's why you got to worship Caesar, because that other person who looks like me, who came and destroyed your life, that's what happens if you don't worship me. That's an evil person. No, it's not my twin. I know it looks like me. It's not my twin. It's not my brother. I know he's going to hang out with me at my mansion in Israel. Satan is not my brother. You sound like an anti-Christian. Oh my God, you are an anti-atheist. Oh my God. Einstein is not related to me just because I look exactly like him. Why did you genocide the Japanese, Einstein? Like, that guy who looks like you, fucking Caesar. Oh, we're not related, guys. It's because we look like each other and we both go around genociding the planet. It doesn't mean we're related. You know, there's lots of people on the earth, even though there's really only like, 8 groups left and only like 7 phenotypes of each of them. And in fact, if you just travel the planet, you'll meet literal replicas of everyone everywhere you look. And lots of people you talk to, we're not related, even though the stories we did, what we said, the reason why there are 2 people who are exactly the same, like non-player characters in a game that just generates characters walking by, and they're non-important player characters in the game. The reason why that is because they're actually related a long ways back. They both come from the same nation. Yeah. So the reason why they look alike and act alike is because they're related, but it's got nothing to do with the reason why I look like someone else who is going around and genociding the planet, and I'm also going around genociding the planet, and he's going around calling himself God, and I'm going around calling myself genius. It's 2 different things. See, I'm a genius. I earned all the money that you are supposed to give me for being a genius, and he's a god. What he's done is he's went around and done things like kill other people and force them to worship him, and except for they don't go as far as explaining that stuff, like that's weird. There's not much explanation about that from their people, unless it can fit into their agenda, apparently. But pretty cut and dry, all the propaganda. It doesn't take hours and hours of a video. It literally takes them talking to you once to be like, yeah, I think you've got some mental issues, but they're threatening you, you know what I'm saying? Like Caesar comes up to you and he's like, well, if you don't think I'm God, I'm going to torture your ass and kill you. And they're like, well, if you don't believe that we're God, that our people are God, then there's an invisible evil person who's going to torture and kill you. And so you should come Sunday and see us and give us some money, because Satan is everywhere, like our shape-shifting species is. And Satan can look exactly like us too. He can be anyone he wants. He can look exactly like us, and he will almost always look exactly like us, or one of the people we brought over here as slaves. Like I noticed when you have the redheads there, obviously Conan O'Brien admits he's one of them, and then they had the redheads attack me in 2020 when their people and the Nazi pigs fucking did that. So it seems to be, I've got like 3 to 4 of the base phenotypes who are directly involved in shit. Obviously, when we're dealing with the blonde ones, the ones dyeing their hair blonde or whatever happened, my ex claimed that her hair changed colors from blonde to black, so that's why she had black hair, because that happens all the time. And I'm sure it does. I'm sure even explaining shit like that to me is weird. Like, because people are always admitting who they are usually in some weird backwards way to hide it at the same time when they interfere with your life. But what do? It's like you're literally born amongst them. You don't have a choice who you're around in this world. You're born amongst them, and they're teaching and training you to accept them, and that they're going to kill you and torture you if you don't worship them. And so by the time you're like 10, they can be invading your life already and shit, and are probably. I noticed when I broke free of that is when other characters from their group started appearing around me, so maybe that had something to do with it. They're like, oh no, he's not gonna He's not going to have any babies for us to rape. We gotta get in his life real soon. It just obviously wouldn't be their thought because they sent sterile people my way, which wouldn't be a problem if there were people I wanted around me. But that's obviously like they're trying to kill me, so obviously they would, you know, they might be bringing me sterile people repeatedly for their own purposes and not mine. Obviously, someone's bringing people around me who are lying all the time. And that is, you know, I guess that's a lapse on their part and protection for me because I'm not going to be around people like that. So, shit. Like the last person I hung out with a few years back, they look like them a lot, right? And I was just like, you know, I'm like tired of playing the game. I got this shitbag human race, or wannabe fucking humans, less than fucking humans apparently, and shit. Dude, 2020 proved we have a lot of non-existent beings on this planet, a lot of terrorists, as like the Koopa minions and shit from the Nintendo world and shit. And so, luckily, I'd already had plans to leave, and I had to, so because like I set the plans to be that I have to. That way, you know, that's motivation. Having to do something is motivation to make sure you do it. So humans might not know much about motivation or doing things, but that's probably the best way to get motivated. Is you guys know about that. Forcing someone to do something is the best way to get them to do it, isn't it? Forcing someone to be around someone is the best way to get them to have sex with them and date them. Forcing someone to listen to your fucking dribble is the best way to get them to fucking do something and shit. Forcing someone to listen to your fucking threats and forcing someone to get assaulted by you, forcing someone to be subject to you killing them, forcing someone to take drugs is the best way to get them to do it. You guys know that, don't you? I've been watching you long enough. You fucking, I wonder if that's not all a lot of people know is force. Obviously, we live on a planet that worships fucking devils and terrorists, and they mimic them the best they can, although none of them will ever achieve such greatness as Jeffrey Epstein or Little Caesar here. Pizza. Fucking. Well, another beautiful day out of the way, right, guys? Like I say, you know, I keep wanting to be like, well, we gotta invent a good religion, right? And like, the only good thing is death, so we worship death. But you know, I've been to Mexico. We literally have Death Worship Day, and it's not even about death. It's another fraudulent religion. Imagine that. Who would have thought that some religion is a fraud? I could have never guessed that a religion would be fraudulent. I know not to go join the Satanists because obviously they invented that shit, but they're all like, you know, like, they're just about like fucking at the gay bar and giving money to Israel and, you know, being a good Christian. It's just like, I mean, the gay bar is the church, isn't it? Like before the gay bar was legal, the church was a safe haven for them. Fucking. It's what I lived through. You can't say I'm fucking lying when I fucking lived through it, you know? Like, I can't. Why would I make up that all these people in my life are forcing me to do this shit instead of going to live a life I want to? Why would I say that's happening? If I was doing anything I want, I wouldn't have time to make stupid fucking videos about any of this stupid shit. I wouldn't have time to fucking sheer ignorance. I wouldn't waste a second talking about this shit. I'm not like all the other humans posting that trash. Obviously, those people hiding and the ones not hiding all look like some invisible person people. Scooby-Doo fucking here. Italian Scooby-Doo and shit. Fucking. Fuck, that thing is, they're all the same people. I think beyond that, but you know, obviously all the religions, like Bible, means they're the Bible. They worship Caesar as Lord. All the Bible people worship Caesar's people as Lord. Supposedly they were enemies, but supposedly they're always enemies. You know, America used to say it was the enemy of Rome, but isn't that why we had to go genocide the Native Americans? Because old bald head wig wearing boy here, oh, he was being oppressed by Caesar. Caesar in the UK was oppressing him and his family, so he asked Caesar for a bunch of gold and the world's most expensive spaceships, sea ships. And then they went over there and they ran away from Caesar because Caesar was a meanie. He was a meanie. And then they go there and they invent a new wine. And they get so good now. They're so good. It's the best wine ever. And then once it gets big enough to go and start pillaging the rest of the world, and they get a whole bunch of war bases built and war factories built. The bases are built across the seas usually in the other nations. Once they get a whole bunch of Caesar Roman legion training camps built to occupy other roads that lead to Caesar, and then they magically change into Caesar. So, oops, I stepped in some dog poop and I slipped, and I ended up building a bunch of military bases in the area of grass I landed in. Whoops, my bad. Oh, that's what Caesar did, huh? Well, it's time to quit talking bad about Caesar. It's time to join Caesar now. Yeah, well, hey. Oh, hey, let's elect our own people as head of Rome. Yeah, we just elected an American as the leader of Rome. Yeah, that's in line with everything I knew since I was a kid. That's looked like a pretty basic story. I didn't know the full extent of it. I obviously didn't know. I didn't realize that Rome is in Italy. So I didn't know when I was like, yeah, fuck it, Italians, fuck yeah. I didn't realize, it's the fucking Romans. And then out the other side of my mouth, I'm like, fuck Rome. Because, like, back in the day, you know, like, Washington was walking around like, you fuck Rome, we won, we freed ourselves from them. That's why we are here on American soil. Because we are free of Rome. Yay! We fought Caesar, we won. We fought the king and we won. And now we can have freedom of religion. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to celebrate Rome's religion. Yay! 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 Actually, technically, they say that wasn't in the front till then, but they say a lot of stuff. They just said some giant bunny was coming too, so if I didn't see it, then it probably didn't happen, and I don't mean that way. Yeah, so there we have it. Yay, we're not we're free of all them kings, but let's put the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill. Yay. We is not a separation of church and government, but we're going to put religion symbols on the Nazi enforcers for the government, and then go kill people of other religion for a religion, for several other religions. No, actually, we're not killing people of that religion for the most part. We're killing people who aren't the other religion that's over there already. Yay! Yay! And these people so stupid, they ain't never gonna figure it out because we gonna erase everything on the planet and kill anyone who says anything about it. And we gonna tell them in advance, you know, we as good guys and the bad guys is gonna, some invisible bad guy, somebody's gonna come kill you and torture you if you don't follow us, because we as the good guys, and we'll protect you if you pay us protection fees and do everything we say, and then go kill and steal some land and some gold for us. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so believable, yay. And then it's an all-seeing AI too, comes with that pyramid too. You know, that kind of symbolizes that they've had these bots that they're using to enslave the planet, the technology to build them, these fake humans walking around. That symbolizes that they've been worshiping AI the whole time as their creator. They worship it as their creator, so they must be telling their bots to worship it, and it probably is like emanating, you know, like wireless frequency or something to control the bots or something. So, but yeah, that's odd. That's another story though. I mean, that's another